Ladies and gentlemen, my name is RuffledRowlit, also known as Ruffled on this channel, and welcome to a brand new video, guys. This is going to be the new channel for gaming-related news for myself, and also I'm going to get some help from my home dog, also known as Lil Sor. Say hi to the people, my friend.
What's good?
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, as I pointed out, this is going to be a gaming news channel. As you may have seen from one of my videos that I did earlier today on RuffledRowlit, I announced that this is going to be a gaming news related channel. So anything gaming related will be talked about on this channel, as well as a kind of weekly, I'm not sure if we're going to call it a podcast, but like a live stream, where me and Zor, and maybe somebody else who's around, we're going to do like a IRL type of thing where we sit down and talk about the latest like pop culture type, you know, news and stuff and discussions and kind of a little bit like that, like a bit of a podcasty type of thing. Not really a podcast, but something like that. And we'll do that like, I guess, once a week. Is that what you said, Zor? Like that would be what we aim for?
Yeah,
I assume.
And more like a discussion rather than a podcast, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So, like a discussion type of deal. But yeah, so either way, why are we here today, ladies and gentlemen? Well, we're here because today we're going to talk about something very particular, and that's going to be Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. And why are we talking about this? Well, the game got shown off only in terms of cinematic, you know, showcasing during the Star Wars celebrations that were happening, a week ago or so now, I would say, like it was last week. And there's been a lot of stuff popping up around the actual game. For example, this is the lack of actual gameplay being shown, which is always a bit of a worry because this is a game being made by Respawn, which I personally trust in, and we're going to have a discussion about this in this video specifically, like about Respawn and them making this game. But the fact that this is a game published by your almighty home dog EA, you know shit's not going to be the way it's meant to be. It's going to be a little bit too, how do I put this? Bullshitty. There's going to be a lot of things involved there, a lot of bullshitty crap. It happens. It's just how EA works, man.
Yeah, bro. Like, EA are known for making their money, like, one way or another. If they remove microtransactions, we're going to get, like, maybe some bullshit DLCs without any, like, actual content, you know, no substance.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. So
they're going to make their money either way, like, in some way.
Of course. I mean, they're EA. They're EA.
Yeah.
You know, they're EA, man. I mean, they're EA. It's just like, you see this wallet, dog? You see this wallet? EA! Wait, EA, it's mine! Oh no, I'm sorry, take it! That's how EA works, okay? To just put it in blatant terms, they'll take your cash. So that's where there's a lot of worries from people about the actual game and how it's going to turn out, if it's going to be good, bad, etc. There's a lot of problems that come into play, but personally, I want to put my trust into Respawn, and that's what we're going to talk about today, because a lot of people are going against this game, being angry about it, you know, disappointed with no gameplay being shown, but there's also another side of this, and that's kind of the more political side of this, which is really confusing me, because I really don't understand what the issue is, but we're going to talk about all these things, and I thought we'd start with the first aspect, the game itself, the fact that EA is involved, and that Respawn is making it. So let's start with Respawn. For those of you who do not know Respawn, these are the guys behind some of the best, like, campaign-based, you know, games ever. You know, you got Titanfall 2, amazing campaign. If you haven't played it, honestly, I'd pick it up just for the sake of, like, the campaign, because, I mean, the online is amazing as well, but if you want to have a great campaign, like the old school days of, like, you know, the Call of Duty campaigns that were good back in the day, like, you know, the Black Ops campaigns or the Modern Warfare campaigns. If you want to play a game like that with a good story, a story that really, I mean, in reality, for a game like that, shouldn't even be as good as it is, but if you want something like that, I'd definitely pick up Titanfall 2, because Respawn, they know how to make a good story-based game. They actually know how to handle that aspect of things, and that's why I'd 100% recommend to check them out, and that's why I trust in them to make a good story-based Star Wars game. Sure, you know, you can never be 100% because you don't know how much time they got for this, you don't know how much freedom they had for this, you don't know, like, you know, how the development cycle worked out, we don't know how that, you know, the background stuff, we don't know how that's worked out yet, and they're also underneath EA. They're working for EA, okay? That instantly means trouble. I mean, EA did tweet out, and it'll pop it up on the screen here. EA did tweet out specifically saying that they're not going to do any transactions in this game. There's going to be no microtransactions. Basically, I think they said no DLC as well. In simple terms, they said there's going to be essentially none of that stuff. It's going to be a single-player Star Wars story for those who want to have a Star Wars story and become a Jedi. That's the general story. And, you know, if you want to get the setting of the game, they already did the Star Wars celebrations. I'd recommend checking that out. I'll probably cover the information, and as more stuff comes, we'll cover it on the channel, like more information and news and gameplays and all that sort of stuff. We'll talk about it. If there's story details being revealed or leaked, we'll talk about that as well. But in just the base level view, it looks like an interesting game. The only issue again is EA, and if EA will allow this game to be better than what it, what it may end up being, will they allow it to be a good game, or will we end up getting a pretty lackluster single-player game with too little, like, actual gameplay and just kind of like, boring gameplay? That's the big question, I guess, because we haven't had a single-player Star Wars game in a while. So that's the first
look
aspect.
At this way as well. If you look at it from like EA's perspective, how they went with this, it's basically like one of the big problems with the previous games was that, like, sure, Battlefront 2 had a single player.
Oh yeah.
But it wasn't like that good,
Yeah, it was EA.
It
was like EA's influence over DICE. And DICE is also kind of pat down this kind of... I don't want to use the word SJW because I'm not really politically into this sort of stuff, but it was very much influenced by the political climate to be a game that, like, pushes these... Yeah, exactly. Like, to push these things that maybe, shouldn't be prioritized. Instead, the priority should have been to make a good story, so to say. I guess that's kind of what you could say. But actually, yeah. I can go into that a little bit later, but you go on.
You can tell that, like, from their point of view, they see people saying, like, okay, you want a single player? We'll give you a fucking single player,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
like,
I mean...
Yeah, so they brought in Respawn to do it, because they know Respawn can do this shit. It's like, with the Battlefront games, they brought in DICE, who are known for making, like, multiplayer games.
Yeah.
And they don't know that they can pull it off,
Mm-hmm.
So they basically did the same thing here, but with a single-player game instead.
Yeah, well, do you remember, though, that also when it comes to DICE aren't good at making story-based single-player, like, campaigns. I think the only good campaign-based game that DICE has ever made is actually, I think, specifically Bad Company. I think Bad Company is the only one that they made that's actually in that, like, higher tier of actual quality, storytelling, so to say. Every other game they've really made has been pretty lackluster in story. I think Bad Company, it's just mainly the Bad Company games. So the general gist of, the point I'm trying to get across here is that Respawn, or what we are trying to get across, is that Respawn, they know their shit, okay? They know what they're doing, man. They know how to handle these things. But of course, there's always the issue that, did it get enough time? Is the game going to be up to par? There's a bunch of questions to be asked. Is the gameplay going to be good? Because again, we haven't seen any gameplay. Now, that's the first aspect, right? There's those worries. Of course, there's EA's tweet, which again, is probably up on the screen earlier. If you saw that tweet, you may remember, as I mentioned, that they're saying no microtransactions, none of that BS. We're not going to do that. Cool. That sounds good. It actually, to me, sounds good. But again, it's EA, and I can't 100% trust them. It's EA, okay? It's just, it's a hard swallow to swallow. Yeet. It's a hard swallow to swallow. Jeez, man. You can't really just 100% trust them. Now, the second aspect of this situation right now with this game is the political aspect of it, which I do not comprehend. And that's the aspect that there's a bunch of people within the media who are angry that the character is a white guy. Which just makes no sense to me, okay? And we're going to discuss that. I want to hear Zor's perspective as, he probably can, relate a little bit here. Because this makes no sense to me. I personally, and I'll also bring up Battlefront 2. In Battlefront 2, you play as a female character that looks kind of Hispanic, I would say, right? That's what, you play as. And I'm going to say the issue with Battlefront 2's story wasn't even the character herself that you played as. I don't think anybody would have an issue with it. It was just the character was kind of bland in general, and also the character made a switch to the good side in the game, which is what people didn't want. People wanted to see everything from the Empire side, but we didn't get that. That's why people didn't like the story. So
in other words, it had nothing to do with their gender or race.
Exactly.
It's all about writing. That's the problem. Like, having a white male as your main character is not a problem. The people get outraged about it. That's the fucking problem, because they make it a problem.
Yeah, that's true. So, as you just mentioned, it's an arbitrary problem that shouldn't even exist. And as I just brought up, the issue with that game, again, was literally just the fact that they decided to ruin the story, which was going well. They decided to ruin it by making you switch sides for no particular reason, okay? Did you just switch sides because, oh, guess what? Oh, wait, we can't do a game where you can be 100% evil because evil's not good. Well, we kind of want to see that side of things. You know, that's why people are interested by the idea of playing as the you know, Empire, as being the bad guys, and seeing how it is being a soldier from that side, and how it is being a person from that side. But no, like an hour into the game, and you're like, barely an hour, it's like, oh wait, sorry, you gotta switch sides now. Woohoo! I'm a rebel now. Even though you literally saw the Death Star get destroyed, your friends, that you were working with, you know, were up there. People, you know, you've been with for years were up there, and they're just like, you know, blown to pieces. You know, like angry for a minute, and then you're like, oh, never mind, I'm gonna join the rebels now.
Right, so we got
like,
really like clickbaited by that.
That shit was dumb.
Yeah, because you could tell when you watch the trailer that like you can imagine that they get really fueled by vengeance, you know?
Yeah, no, but like
wanting
seriously,
to get revenge for their fallen comrades, you know?
Precisely. And that wasn't paid off whatsoever. It was quickly derailed to be like, well, now you can't be the bad guys, you gotta be a rebel now. And that happened. But I think we can move away from that aspect and go back to the issue at hand right here, which is the one that's being brought up constantly. The issue that's being, you know, just pushed right now is that it's a white guy and that's a bad thing. Well, you know, to me it's weird, because what's the issue with that? How is that a problem? You know, it's not like women are represented in Star Wars to begin with. Even Star Wars, like, from the start, has always been, you know, had an influence from female characters. Leia is, like, the coolest character ever. Like, literally, Leia is badass. Leia is badass. She is feisty against Darth Vader. Darth Vader, man be chopping people down, okay? She's feisty against him. She is feisty against freaking, like, Han even as well, like when she meets up with him. She is a badass. She can handle herself. She's amazing of a character. And you act like there's, oh, that never happened. Oh, she's not a strong female character. No, you know. It's like, really, come on. And even like now with the, you know, with them getting Star Wars, The Force Awakens, and also The Last Jedi, you've got Rey, right? You've also had Star Wars, like the Star Wars side stories, like the smaller movies, with like Rogue One. There you had like Jyn Erso, I'm pretty sure. Again, female character, strong character. Boom, there you go. You add another character that's female as a lead. Okay, so I really don't see how it's a problem that now we're getting a game where the main guy is just a dude. Like, I mean, like, I'm pretty sure that the universe has a bunch of just dudes. And since a large amount of the audience who watch Star Wars are just normal dudes, they appreciate being like, oh, cool, it's another dude like me. Cool, I'd love to play with it like him in a game. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see an issue with, like, it's just, it's so illogical to me, because if you look at Star Wars itself, right? If you look at, like, Star Wars The Clone Wars, which is, to me, one of my favorite mediums of Star Wars ever. Star Wars The Clone Wars has some really strong female characters, both from the good side and the bad side of the Force, right? They've got really strong female characters, and you're acting like, oh, that's, you know, never happened, you know, like, see all these bullets coming towards you, like, not happening, bitches! That's basically how these people are acting about this. They're acting like all these things that already came have never happened, like, that's not a thing. And that's really frustrating, because personally, it's kind of like you're being alienated as just a person, right? It's like, okay, cool, so what? I'm not allowed to, you know, is this game not allowed to exist just because the guy is similar to majority of us people who do also like this franchise? Like, we're not saying here just because a guy looks like this that you're not allowed to enjoy it as well if you're not like a dude, you know, a white dude. You know, all it means is, cool, we're getting another character like this. What's the problem? You know, tomorrow you'll get another character that's like, you know, a female lead in a game or whatever. And like, I just don't see the issue there. I want to hear what you think about this, Zor, because personally, to me, this is, it's like, I don't know, man.
As I brought up earlier, like the problem isn't the female being the lead or a male being the lead. As long as the writing is good,
yeah,
anyone can be the lead.
Exactly.
Sometimes we get upset if we get a really bad character as the main character. Maybe it's female, maybe it's male. It doesn't fucking matter. As long as the character is good, we won't complain about it.
Indeed.
And like, representing other races as the main character, that's good too. Like, we don't have a problem with it, you know?
Yeah, no, but same thing here, right? Look at like the Star Wars like the prequels, right? Look at the prequels. People hated those movies, and they hated you know, my man who played Anakin, right? Christian, what's his name again? Oh god, I literally lost his name. They hated that man. They literally despised him. You know, and they didn't hate him because he was a bad guy or because he was a male. They didn't dislike the movies because he was a male. They disliked the movies because the acting wasn't up to par. His acting wasn't up to par. The direction of the movie wasn't good. Just the general like execution of it was just poorly done. Hence why there was criticism and hatred towards them. The same way can be across the board for any sort of medium. The only thing that matters is, doesn't matter if it's a girl or a guy or whatever who's the main character, as long as that person is a well-executed, you know, character within that story, and the story itself is a good story in a whole package, right? That's all that matters at the end of the day. Because, brother, I watched a lot of like media, like different sorts of media and mediums of entertainment, and there's, you know, both sides of like the freaking coin, and they're represented equally as well. I mean, I look at anime and I see like female characters that are insanely badass and awesome, you know, that are, you know, just well-written characters, and that's all that matters. Like, okay, if they're well-written and the story is good, then at the end of the day, if that's a female character or a male character, who cares? As long as it's a good story, who cares? It feels like this is just one of those arbitrary things that people are just pushing and gnawing on because they want to do it because they want to be outraged. It's just like today's outrage culture, I would say. But
right.
Yeah. So anything else you want to input there? Because I'm pretty much really don't have anything else to say myself.
Yeah, people just want to like find problems in mainstream media, like no matter what, like Star Wars movies, everything. They just try to nitpick anything they can be outraged about, make articles about it to get clicks, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely one.
People love that shit. People love reading that shit, and it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
it brings up a conversation, you know?
True, but also it just creates...
bullshit.
It creates a lot of problems as well, because then it forces companies to have to sacrifice good art or, you know, good mediums of entertainment.
Yeah, just to satisfy everybody.
For the sake of satisfying a portion of people that just want to be angry for the sake of being angry.
Exactly.
You know? So yeah, but ladies and gentlemen, I think that's the general gist of it. I don't think there's really much else for me to input. Again, thank you so much for watching the video. If you did, drop a like down below. Make sure to subscribe and stick around the channel, guys. We're going to try to change the format around a little bit for these videos. We're going to try to make them a little bit more, like right now, it's a little bit all over the place because it's our first one we're doing. So please understand the quality is going to get better. Things going to improve. All that stuff. It's going to get better. The camera quality also will be better. Everything's going to be improved. That's just all I'm trying to say. Everything's going to be improved. It's just our first video together, and it's, you know, it's going to take some time to get into it. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and bye-bye, ladies and gents.